in the depths of the city with their guns and their arms of brutality, bringing to our people misery, not respecting the value of life. They kill the innocent with a smile. Before I give up my rights, I will walk a million miles. Wise up and come and rise up, people. Defend your rights with the fight. Let's not give in to brutality. A very pleasant good evening, and you're in tune to Jamaican Explosion here with Pastor Rob. And it's so great to have you here with us, wherever you may be listening from, wherever you may be watching from. It's good to have you here on another episode, a great episode of Jamaican Explosion. And I'm going to take Mr. Entrepreneur's information off of there. And we want to welcome to the Jamaican Explosion today, no other than first, we're going to have our co host, Miss Nadine, where she is. Come on. How you doing, Nadine? How's it going today?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's hot, hot, hot. It's outside looking nice for those who still want to get out. And there's still so much fun activities you can take part in. And the best part is fall has started. So it's a little cooler. So definitely.
Okay, very good, very good. There are quite a few things happening in and around the Atlanta area this evening, including, of course, the Atlanta Jamaica Association, which Nadine is a part of, the actual assistant secretary of that. They're having their jazz on the lake today. Is that correct?
Yes, they definitely are. So we're encouraging persons to bring out their little picnic baskets and they'll actually be judging the table. They're asking persons to decorate their tables and they'll be judging the tables. And for those who are into Oliver Samuels, he performs tonight. He and his team, Tita and Tongue, at Shiloh High School tonight, and also another showing tomorrow. So there's so much activities happening definitely for this weekend. You have the Georgia State Fair coming up. Just stay tuned, guys. We have so much more to tell you about.
Okay, okay. So, Nadine, we have invited some young Jamaican American professionals to kind of have a little dialogue with us this evening. And I'm just looking forward to some of these young people who are making a difference within the diaspora. And I feel that they need to be heard. They need to be noticed, and somebody will benefit from hearing about them or watching the program today. What do you think?
Oh, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. I mean, our future lies in the youth and seeing their growth and their progress, and they're willing to adapt to changes and even to come back and teach us, well, older ones, new things. So definitely looking forward to talking to them, learning stuff, and hopefully somebody else who's listening will see them as some sort of motivation on how they got this far and an inspiration.
Very good, very good, very good. And when you said older one, you're talking about yourself, right? Because
I'm
yeah.
25 and that's my story, Pastor Rab.
Okay, all right. You gotta make yourself clear because there's nothing old about Pastor Rob. So you gotta realize that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
But
25, but I'm still open to learning new things. How about
okay,
that?
that's good. I like that. I like that better. Okay, so as we get started, if you're actually watching us today, if you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube and you want to speak with any of these folks right here, any of the people that we'll have on the panel this evening, I can open the chat overlay and you could join in on the chat. I'm gonna turn it on right here just for you to take a look. So I turn on the chat overlay over here in this section right here. You could come on in on YouTube, definitely, and ask a question. We'll be able to see it flash on screen, and we'll be able to speak with some of these young professionals today. For now, I'll leave the chat overlay open as I begin to introduce the different uh, panelists that we have on our program today. First, I'm going to start with none other than Mr. Jabari Shaw. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you, Pastor Rob?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And it's good that you call me Pastor Rob. Okay. On the program. Okay, so Jabari, go ahead and give us about a good 2 minutes of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Jabari Shah. I am a 6-year lawyer at a law firm based out of Ohio called Vorey, Sater, Seymour, and Pease. And what my law practice really focuses on is intellectual property. So essentially, what I do is help athletes, entertainers, and brands not only protect their IP, but also build it. A lot of what my practice focuses on is really helping individuals, entertainers, athletes, brands, whoever understand how to utilize IP, but also understand how to exploit it. So exploitation sounds like a negative word, but in reality, what we're doing is really generating revenue by, focusing on how to use the IP, what IP to protect, what IP to maybe not protect, and which particular ways to protect it. So that's essentially what my practice is. I do a lot of work throughout the United States, a fair bit of work in Europe, and a little bit of work in Jamaica as well. So I do represent a number of entertainers out of the island, and just very passionate about the work that I do.
Very good, very good. So we have Jabari there, and let me get a better screen here. Okay, so we have Jabari, who's going to be one of our panelists this evening. And let me go ahead and introduce the second lawyer, or to be lawyer, and bring her on screen, Gabrielle Henry. Welcome to our forum this evening. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good this evening. And go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, Gabrielle.
So, my name is Gabrielle Henry, and currently I am aspiring to go to Georgia State University for law. Currently, I work with juveniles, so that is advocating on their behalf. I work with a nonprofit that essentially helps to redirect them outside of the system. So a lot of times when you have young people who get caught into trouble, the courts will decide what path is best for them if they believe that juvenile facility is best for them. And in that case, they usually become property of the state, or if they believe that they should go through remediation through a program. So essentially, I just help the youth advocate for them on their behalf to make sure that they are staying out of jail.
Very good. Very interesting. I find it very interesting. I don't know what's giving me like a half blockage of a screen here, but I'll get a little better look at in the. Okay, so all right, we have Gabrielle, and I see Tamara still has her camera off. She went on a break and never came back. Let me see who else we have here, and we'll bring them on here. Perel went off for a second. Okay, and so we're gonna have to. Oh, Tamara is back. Okay, Tamara, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Tamara Edwards. I'm originally from Jamaica, migrated 15 years now. I am a singer, songwriter, recording artist. I am, and my book, entitled Faithful Daughter, I'm the author of Faithful Daughter and Encouraging Words to Live By. I am the mother of four and some boys and the wife of Donovan Edwards. Thank you.
Good, Tamara. Good to have you on the forum today. Okay, and also I have on the forum with us today is Mr. none other than Akeem Palmer. How are you doing today, Akeem?
I'm doing well, Pastor Rob. Good afternoon, everybody.
Very
Um,
good.
so,
Mhm.
just a little quick about myself. Just an entrepreneur, born and raised out of Brooklyn, New York. Um, I've kind of, through the years, how I led to myself to entrepreneurship is just, finding paths within different spaces in my life that could work for me.
Mhm.
And I find myself having problems with, following just regular pathways or structures. So, I
Mhm.
just got creative with my thinking, and just look for different ways to, again, make money, impact the different societies or communities that I'm a part of. And that in itself has given me, enough drive and stuff to keep it pushing. So, just a serial entrepreneur who looks to add in, a bunch of philanthropic work as well.
Very good. Very good to have you. Welcome to the forum this evening. And
Mhm.
okay, so we're going to introduce our final panelist that we have here on Jamaican Explosion today. and is none other than Mr. Perel, Prince Perel. Welcome to the Jamaican Explosion Forum. It's good to have you here with us. And introduce yourself. Let folks know just a little bit about you.
You hear me good?
Yeah, man, you're good. You're good. Nice and busy.
Thank you for having me first off. But my name is Priel. I'm a recording artist, engineer, producer, do a little bit of everything. Son of Gramps Morgan. I go to school right now, Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida. And yeah, I'm here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, good, good, good. So here we have the panel for the day, and I'm just grateful to be in the presence of greatness and future greatness here on the show today. So we have Akeem, we have Tamara, we have Jabari. Okay, all right, and of course we have Gabriel. Okay, so they're going to be our panelists today. I don't know where Nadine went to, so I'll probably start off asking the questions here, and y'all could chime in and kind of answer our questions as we're going to stage a couple of questions to you, primarily about first being Jamaican Americans, about being Jamaican Americans. Okay, so Nadine, you're there, and my first question is how does it impact your ability to move forward, or maybe it doesn't impact your ability to do your job, or enhances then your ability to maneuver your way during business as Jamaican Americans? Does that make sense? Anybody could answer.
I'll start with that one.
Hmm.
For me, I use it as a leverage point. My big thing is I recognize there's a large difference between an African American and a Jamaican American. Our upbringing is a little bit different. Our confidence level is a little bit different. So for me, I just utilize it as a different vantage point. It's a differentiating factor that, especially when you're practicing law and you're relying on advice that you're giving to people, you're not just giving advice based on rules of law, but you're also giving life advice, advice about what particular situations and scenarios may impact a particular decision. So just driving from your upbringing, kind of that level of, there's a proudness about Jamaicans that when you're in the workplace, I think it bodes well for upward mobility. So nobody likes somebody that's just going to be what we call a wallflower who just sits there and doesn't take initiative. Jamaicans are known for taking that initiative. And for the most part, if you look at any major corporation, any major business, there's some Jamaican in there doing 15 jobs, saving the company money, but also driving them towards success. So,
Okay. Anyone else want to jump in there and kind of answer that question that I asked right there? How does it feel to be pretty much? How does it feel to be a young Jamaican American in the business sector, whatever area you're affecting, and are there advantages to it, or are there disadvantages to it?
I'll chime in for a quick second. I have to piggyback off of what Jabari said because I do think we tend to just come from a different vantage point, like he said, and using our upbringings, we're able to draw maybe some type of fire from other places, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
we don't like embarrassment. We don't like to look bad first and foremost, and
Mm-hmm.
not to say anybody else does, but there's a certain difference in our communities when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
Work. And then we got a little bit of seasoning that they don't got. So, we add that to the mix, and I think we're a force to be reckoned with if we're moving about it the right way for sure. So in the professional world, um, you definitely can use it to your advantage, or it can be a harm if you're seen as that angry, Jamaican person or whatever the case may be. So you got to play your roles, play your cards, um, and just remain yourself and stay true to who you are and what you come from.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Akeem. Go ahead.
I would say that it feels very good to be a Jamaican American in the workplace, but I would say it's specifically because you see a lot of advantages. So you see, not only do you usually have more discipline, or you will usually have like more resilience, but your work ethic is different because in Jamaica you get a different amount of work and the expectations are different. So when you start to apply that to your working life or your business life, like you'll see how that changes, and you'll also see like a certain level of respect with it. And I would say specifically for me in the field that I work in, I think that me being Jamaican has a very, very big part to play in it, specifically because I work with usually young African American males, but really any child within the juvenile system. And in that, there's a level of, you have to be, I would say, like calm in that, if that makes sense. And there's a level of maturity that you have to have that I would say a lot of not just Jamaican but Caribbean people have in general, because you grow up a little bit earlier than your counterparts. So those are some advantages.
Nadine, do you have any questions for these young folks? Nadine? Okay, all right.
Are you seeing me? Are you hearing
Yeah,
me?
I'm seeing you. We're seeing you. Yeah.
Okay, because I'm on my phone and on the computer, so I'm not sure which one I need to disconnect.
You need to disconnect your phone's on it right now. Your computer, you need to disconnect.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting feedback that you're on mute at the same time. Okay. Anyone else wants to go on in and address that question that we that was posed to the panel?
I can give my 2 cents on that one.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd say definitely being a Jamaican, like we're raised with parents who teach us to do the right things and to do your work with pride. And I can say that my parents growing up, we were told to anything you do, whether you be taking out the trash or washing the dishes or whatever it may be, whatever your career is, whatever you're doing, just do it to the best of your ability and do it with a sense of pride and being able to say like, hey, I did this and I worked for this and I accomplished this and I achieved this and I know I gave my best effort and I did it with confidence and pride. So I can definitely say growing up as a Jamaican, that was definitely a huge part that's been instilled in me from a young age, and I still carry that same pride and that same energy with me.
Very good. Very good. Nadine, you got a question?
I was hoping tomorrow would
I was
jump in.
I was about to. I was just allowing everyone to. Yes, for me, I'm proud to be a Jamaican, and when I look at our culture back, Jamaicans loving that reggae and just so much, it gives me the opportunity to share more of the reggae here. As an artist, gospel artist, the reggae it never leaves and it will never leave. So it ignites everywhere you go, in whether you're in the studio, whether you're in performing in a Caribbean community. The reggae is evident that it represents us, and that's where, as Perel says, be you, have confidence in who you are, who God called you to be. So it doesn't matter whether you sing souls, be who you are, but I'm able to exercise my true reggae, bring the culture here. So as a Jamaican, no, an American, Jamaican, I call it Jamaica. It gives me the opportunity to just embrace who I am, and that's who I am. That represents Jamaica, a reggae gospel artist. Thank you.
That's good. That's good. I like that. I like that. Yeah, and once again, what are some of the things that you all feel you bring to the table, as far as particularly Tamara kind of touched on that when she spoke about the area that she's influential in our influential area, your area of influence right there. What are some of the things that you all do? And Jabbar, you could start as far as even the music, as far as even the music, as how are you influential in that area?
Yeah, so for me, the difference maker is in Jamaica, especially the higher up you get into music, you have lawyers that come in from overseas to help talent. They're not always helping talent. For the most part, there's a level of cultural competency, is what I call it, that is necessary to represent a Jamaican talent. Um, there's a such thing as island time. I always joke about it. So obviously, like for a meeting like today, everybody was here 10 minutes early. That may not be the case when you're going to meet Jamaica's top selling artist. It's just like anything else. When you go to a different country, there's different things you need to do before you conduct business. So what I come in is I know those cultural aspects that are necessary. I know what hardships typically could present themselves in a contractual situation that wouldn't occur for an American artist. And so I can help make deals that are going to end well, as opposed to making deals that sometimes wind up with people not understanding how they wound up in a situation. So for me, it's really, I'm different. I come in with a bit of history on my side, with my granddad being in music, with my family being in music. I represented my granddad for a little bit before he passed, so I'm kind of a known commodity from that standpoint. But what it is sometimes it is a little bit scary for a Jamaican artist to say, I'm gonna sign with Jabari and his law firm. It's another Jamaican. So sometimes that is just uncomfortable because we always think white ice is hotter or cooler. So I think from my perspective, I understand what I'm capable of doing. The resources at my law firm they're the best in the world. I mean, they just are. So when we get people in the door and show them what we're capable of, I think after that it's a game changer. And been practicing for 6 years, and it's been a nice little 6 years of just changing the mindset on the island. A lot of the things that I'm doing from a legal standpoint are starting to become commonplace. So if I do it and it works, you're going to go and tell your regent who's going to try to do it, and then it works. And a lot of that is shifting the way that just Jamaica in general handles their intellectual property when it comes to music.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Jabari. What about you, Gabrielle? As you're getting ready, or are you already impacting in that area? You could speak to us about that.
I'm sorry, you broke up for a second. Can you say that again, please?
I said, how are you contributing as far from a personal standpoint? I know that you're still in school or so forth like that, but that doesn't mean that you're not contributing as far as from your end of the spectrum, the area law that you're working from.
So I would say my contributions are more so in really understanding the field that I'm going into. So a lot of times people will go into the fields with juvenile justice, and I would say that they don't have enough experience to actually be in the field. So they understand the laws, they understand the legal procedures, but they don't actually understand the empathetic aspect of it. They're not able to really slow down and hear what young people are saying. And I see a lot of times that when we have like different generations, you'll see a big disconnect. So for someone who might be in Gen Z, they might not necessarily easily be able to communicate with someone who's a baby boomer or whatever the generation might be. And just within that, I think for me specifically, being able to slow down and actually understand what that means for this young person, like what it means to be understood, what it means to be heard. I think my upbringing specifically, because I lived with my dad for a time period, and he was very big on trying to give young people voices, listening to their opinions, even when you don't necessarily agree with them. And I think I was able to kind of apply that to my work as well. And I think just in general, even in Jamaican culture, I would say a lot of times, like, we hear things like, okay, the parent is the parent. But when you come into these situations, sometimes the parent is not the parent. They're not the responsible adult that you
Mm,
assume that they are.
mhm.
And you have to kind of understand from that perspective.
Very, very good. Okay. Um, okay. What about you, Miss Perel? As far as your contributions, and I know there are quite a bit, but just go over maybe just a few. And how do you think those are going?
So could you say that one more time?
I said, how are your contributions? What areas are you contributing as far as you know, making the Jamaican diaspora, just a better place?
For like most part, for like music has a huge influence in many places in the world. Like it's a universal language, and
Mhm,
I feel like as an artist, it's very important to be careful what you put out.
mhm,
Especially when you're writing your music, it's important to put out positive music, things that are uplifting, or just nothing that's negative. And I feel like when I make music, this project I'm working on right now, it's a very vulnerable place, and it's coming from a place of me going on a spiritual journey and kind of discovering more about myself and what I believe this life is, and making sure I just put out things that's conscious music, not just music with substance. You know, if you understand what I'm saying, like a lot of music that's popular now is just people talking about drugs, sex, and money and things like that.
mm,
And I feel like we've kind of lost the love and the passion for music. And
mhm,
sometimes I feel like people are just doing the music for money or for the fame or
mhm,
for whatever it is. But I feel like as an artist, like I said, as an artist, it is so important to
mhm,
protect your brand and protect what you stand for, not just to buy into the things of this world, like the riches and the materialistic things. But I feel like I have a message that is positive,
mhm,
might not always be like encourage or anything like that, but it's definitely never coming from negative place. And I feel like in a world where everything seems to be so negative and everybody wants to be a pessimist, like it's very easy to get caught into the dangers and the traps of that. And I feel like it's so important to stay on top of who you are and understand what you bring to the table and what message you're putting out in the world. So definitely I'm trying to make sure that I stay on the positive side of things and be a light and be uplifting and put out conscious music.
very good. Thanks, Pharrell. We go now to Akeem.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about how you're contributing.
So with me, because I'm so like I'm in the entrepreneurship space, my main focus has been like financial literacy, and improving that across different spaces, whether it be kids or even adults.
Hmm.
And as you see, I have the In Your Palm Youth Program that that I've been working with for a few years now. Um, and basically, what we're trying to do is, again, it's not rocket science. It's just giving them information that they necessarily may not have, right?
Hmm.
Because growing up, my parents taught me to save, save, save,
Hmm.
right? Save to buy a house and take care of your family, right?
Hmm.
And that's really, they never taught me how to invest in certain things because they never knew how to invest in certain things, right? They knew buy a house, buy property, and invest in those things. But what does that actually mean? How do
Hmm.
I navigate the space of, investing in properties and getting money back tax free or, at a lower percentage based on what you do with your, your
Hmm.
house, your income, whatever. So bridging that gap to me is of
Hmm.
the utmost importance because there are things that, the younger youth don't know,
Hmm.
things that the older generation don't know. And I think, our generation, is prime for that. And I mean our generation, meaning the people who are on earth, not just, upper.
Understood.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
I think if we attack that, and continue to attack that, we'll see more people who can come over and read a contract, right, Jabari, and say, "Hey, this don't make no sense. Let's think about something else because I got to get my visa in 2 years, or et cetera, right, or whatever the case may be." So that's my main contribution right now. Looking into other ways to contribute. Obviously, it's a never-ending journey, but that is my main focus right now because I think we can bridge the gap faster than a lot of people think, especially with our drive and determination to be good at things and to get things right.
Very good. And if you're just joining us today, you're in tune to Jamaican Explosion with yours truly, Pastor Rob, and we have Miss Nadine on with us, and we have quite uh, what I call an extraordinary set of young Jamaican Americans or Jamaicans, if you want to call them that, and I think they're just doing an excellent job of affecting the diaspora. And I believe as we get to know them better, and as they become more prominent in what they do, we will really begin to see the effect of what they're actually growing up to be. As Pastor Robert, I'm so much years older than you guys, that I know that you will grow in and mature into those things that you have already started. So more kudos to you. Nadine, do you have a question for them as we
Yes,
go
I
to the next?
Yes,
Yes,
I
go
do.
ahead.
I have a question for the panel.
Mhm.
Um, Oftentimes you hear people at your age saying, I don't know what to do or what career, and they seem so unfocused. So my question to you guys is, I could start with Akeem.
Mhm.
What inspired you to go in the area you're in, and who's your mentor or main role model?
That's a great question first and foremost, because a lot of people do struggle with that. So I was in college and my major was biology, right? Minor in sports medicine. And basically, I was really good at sciences, right? Didn't have to study and not patting myself on the back, but I was really, really good at it. And I lost, like, I've always wanted to be a doctor because that's what my parents kind of drove in my head. Be a doctor, a lawyer, or you know what I mean, something of worth, right? So I chose doctor and I went with that for years and years and years. And I got to about 20, my junior year in college, and I lost the passion for it. And I said, no more, right? I ended up leaving and doing real estate and kind of, trying to find my way. So the reason why I ended up being an entrepreneur is because I didn't know what to do, right? And then I said, well, if I'm trying to play by these rules and figure out what to do, I got to take 15 credits of this and 10 credits of that, and none of this really interests me. Why don't I just make my own, space where I'm interested, right? And I can impact other people who may feel like me or be like me or whatever the case may be. Because the entrepreneurship space is a bunch of people like myself, right? And you kind of go through that and then you learn that teaching or learning, the only way to get that is not just through school or um or books. It's just so many different pathways to it. You can use experience, right? You can read, you can talk to other people or whatever and use their experience. So I think if you don't know what you're doing or you can't find that pathway, just see what your focus is or what your passions are and make something of that.
Okay, thank you. How about Tamara? You want to take a shot at that?
Yes, yes.
Did we just? Oh,
Can you hear
okay.
me? Oh,
Yes, I
yes.
can hear you.
So first, my song, one of my single, "Where Is the Love?" It's inspired me of back in 2020, I believe, with an incident most people know about with George Floyd, the incident of him losing his life. That inspired me, well, with the help of the Lord, giving me such lyrics to ask the question, where is the love? And I realized that when the Lord gave me that, it was something for me to really reread to myself, where is the love? Indeed, there wasn't love in that case, and there is not much love when we look at society. So I had to ask the question, where is the love? And that incident inspired me to ask everyone in this world, where is the love? Because it go back to John 3, verse 16. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. So now we have to ask, because if we love, we will be quick to listen rather than quick to hurt. So that song, through that song, I was able, through that incident, I was able to be inspired to write that. With my book, I believe I have a story that can encourage and have been encouraging folks around this world. Back in Jamaica, right here, England, there have been a lot of persons who have able to purchase the book Faithful Daughter. It is a book that speaks about somebody who managed to shine after being bought, abused, and abandoned. And it is very inspirational to somebody who still managed to overcome despite being hurt, despite being going through so much. And it has helped people to overcome their struggle and encourage them to push forward. Doesn't matter what life throws at them. It doesn't matter their past. It doesn't matter even today's day. We know that we will still go through trials and tribulation. But my story, I know that I had a story that somebody was waiting on and still waiting on, and those to come will be inspired by it and help them to push forward and never stay down into the pit. And when I say the pit, their problems, their circumstances, their troubles, whatever comes. Yes, so that my story inspired me to share and to help motivate women and men I thought it was just women, but also men. The feedback, the response, the driven. There are people who start writing their book. There are people who have write, put down, and because of my experience, people come back and ask me, help me to do this. So I was inspired by my own story to share with the world. Thank you.
Okay, who is next? Jabari.
Soccer in college. School was kind of simple because all the resources were there. Um, but my mom had always said the same thing about, you should go to law school. You love to argue. You love to argue. Go to law school. And I thought about it, and there's the LSAT, which is a test that you have to take before you can get into law school. And I was like, I don't really want to study for that. And then I became a senior, and it got real. Like, hey, school's gonna end. You're not gonna be doing any more school after this. So I figured the best thing to do was to go to more school. So I took the LSAT. Didn't do great on it the first time around. I really wanted to try it again and actually study, so I did, and did good enough to get into a school. Got a nice little scholarship, and when I got to school, it was very different. I wasn't an athlete anymore. I was a regular student. There wasn't somebody scheduling my classes for me. There wasn't any of that extra. So it really forced me to, reach back into how I was raised and, get it on your own and figure it out. And that's what I did. I think I focused more so not necessarily on being the best law student, but at that time I just focused on, trying to be the best lawyer while I was in school. So when I actually took the bar and passed and started to practice law, my mind, the way you think as a lawyer, that's what school is about. It teaches you to think a little bit different. And so my mind was already prepped for that. And I just spent time networking, focusing on, having a foundation in what I wanted to do, which was just help. I Like I said, I came out of school and my granddad was there doing music. So it just made sense. And he kind of brought me into some situations where I could get some real experience with some very powerful lawyers right out of school who taught me about intellectual property and taught me about contract law and taught me about the music business. So that was, I always say that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I kind of was born into it. And I always tell people I'm always transparent about that because I have counterparts that really maneuvered some situations to get into entertainment at the level I'm at. But for me, it was more so like my granddad was in it, introduced me to a gentleman named Kendall Minter, who was the lawyer who represented him before I did. And Kendall is he probably is one of the best entertainment lawyers in the country. And if you need anything, that's who I call. So it's great to have come up in that sort of system and have those types of opportunities and resources. But the drive was really just my mom constantly nagging and telling me I needed to go to law school.
Okay. And let's see, Gabrielle.
To your question, I would say that a lot of times young people, they don't know what they want to do because they're afraid to fail. So like a lot of these young people said, your parents are a part of your formidable years and they tell you what they think that you should do or what they think is going to bring you the most success. But I heard a quote recently, and in the quote it was essentially someone saying, you don't know who you are until you unlearn what others have told you to become. So I think for a lot of people, it's difficult to figure out what is this that you exactly want to do, because so many times people tell you, oh, well, I think that you should do this. In my opinion, I agree the most with Tamara, because in her saying that, God was essentially the person who inspired her, because for me specifically, my vision, I didn't necessarily want to go into the field that I was going into. I preferred to have done something more so related to business law, something that had nothing to do with criminal justice or anything of that nature. But I felt like as I was praying to God about like what my purpose on this earth was, what I was supposed to be doing, that's just the path that I ended up on. And I think for a lot of people, young people, I would probably advise them to not just pray, but to dip your foot in the water about dip your foot in the water when it comes to a lot of different things. So try a lot of different things while you're young, especially if you're living under your parents' roof and you're being supported. Like, try a lot of different things in that space, because once you go out there, you'll figure out, okay, well, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is what I'll tolerate. These are things that I kind of have a passion for. And I think that's when you will be able to say, okay, well, this is my purpose. And I don't think it's necessarily that people are unfocused. I think it's just scary to try something and fail. So you have to be willing to try different things and be willing to fail at different things to find what's for you.
Okay, Akeem, is it Akeem? Priel.
So for me, it was always football and music that I've always did growing up. Those were like my two biggest passions, playing sports and music. And obviously coming from a family doing music, being around Morgan Heritage and my dad, have always had a big passion for performing music like I did. Chorus and like musical theater and those things in high school, starting from elementary school, all the way till I graduated while playing football and basketball. And when I got to my senior year, it was like life is here. Like, I'm about to go to college, or am I gonna go to college? Like, I'm still figuring everything out. It's like, is it gonna be football or music? But I feel like God always puts people in your life at certain times for the right things, and He takes things away from you at the right time for certain things. And for me, it was I had about almost 30 scholarships to go play college football, and I had a few injuries my senior year. And going into it, I was in rehab and went through a lot during that time, going through rehab, trying to get my strength back in my knee, um, in and out of the doctor's office, trying to figure out what the best solution was. And in that time, just went through a lot of things, and ultimately I chose music. So I ended up not going to school for about like a year, just kind of making music, going into studios and collaborating with people, learning how the industry works a little bit more, and trying to figure out who I am as an artist and what is the message I want to put out into the world. And I decided to come to school for music for a little bit more of the technical side for engineering. Coming from a family of music, there's not like really anybody in my family that knows how to engineer. We have a lot of artists and producers and songwriters, but there's nobody in our family that can go into a studio and be like, okay, I know how everything works in the studio. So I kind of came in here to tackle that role as well, and to really have a degree as well. Like, a degree never hurts. If you're an artist and if you know how to engineer as well, you can never run out of work, because everybody is trying to make music nowadays, and you don't want it to sound bad, so you're gonna need an engineer. So I kind of came here to have that for myself and as others, and also be able to help my family with that. Because if we can do everything in house, we save a lot of money, and it's good to do everything in the family. So
Good to know. I was just talking to someone, I think just yesterday, and they were saying that in Jamaica, there aren't a lot of opportunities for persons who are into being engineer.
Shipping services, Atlanta's official and original shippers. We're located in Stonecrest, Georgia. Our
Okay, so guys, sorry about that. We had a commercial that's queuing up here, but go ahead. Sorry for the interruption.
No, I was talking to someone, and one of the things they were saying is that the music industry in Jamaica seems to be growing, and there's not a lot of engineers and stuff. This is based for you and Jabari. Do you see yourselves going back to Jamaica to, help more persons in that field in terms of artists and stuff?
for sure, I can, like I said, like with more and more people wanting to make music, I feel like music is just a beautiful way to express yourself. A lot of people don't know how to put it into words, but like I said earlier, music is a universal language that everyone can speak and everyone can understand, and the emotion that is in it. But as an engineer, like you have to learn how to bring the emotion out of the songs and make them sound good, not only on speakers, but when you not only do you hear the music, you feel the music. It's frequencies and vibrations. So I can definitely see myself helping more artists from Jamaica. Like I said, I'm in school right now, so once I'm out of the situation, I'm kind of stuck in Florida until then. But definitely collaborating with more people that I from where I come from, and giving back to the home island. So for sure.
Okay, so wow, what very just talented, gifted group of young people that we have, and it gives us hope to know that they are so serious about the things that they're doing, and they take serious the business is that they're in. And I could hear the passion in their voices. What do you say, Sister Nadine?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to seeing this generation and what they're going to do. They're going to be game changers. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Okay, all right. And I'm gonna come back with another question before uh, uh, we end today. It's at approximately 5:45, and if you're just joining us, this is a Jamaican Explosion. If you'd like to enter the chat, you could all jump onto YouTube and put a question in the chat. Go over to the YouTube, my YouTube channel. You're able to put a question in the chat if you want to ask any of the panelists here a question today. Okay, all right now. So I'll have a commercial to run in here, and while I'm getting that up, Nadine, you could go on and take over.
Well, just reminding the audience to like and subscribe, follow our channel because we're always bringing other entertaining and informative guests. So feel free to join us so we can share that information with you and others that are inspiring. Jabari, um, are you able to jump in and respond to my previous question to Prince?
So I go to Jamaica fairly frequently. Last year I was at the Island Music Conference and spoke there about just contracts in general. When it comes to production in Jamaica, there's a slight difference in the way that the music industry on the island works in comparison to the rest of the world. So typically, you have a producer who will pay an artist to voice on a rhythm. Um, that producer is going to pay a hefty fee to get the best talent. The flip side of that is the ownership in the IP there tends to go to the production company. That's not exactly how it works in the US. In some situations, it's that way, in others, it's not. But what happens in Jamaica is a lot of the times the production companies have money, which means they have some sort of business organization structured properly, and they may have some connection to some lawyer, probably on the island. So the industry just works a little bit different. When I go down, and what I've been helping to do is try to change the way that it works a little bit so that there's better opportunities to work overseas. If I'm Sony or if I'm Universal and I want to go and sign a Jamaican talent, it's very tough for me to do so because I may take on risks because I don't know who owns the music. I don't know if I, purchased your catalog from you, and want to exploit it as a part of our agreement, whether or not I am going to get the rights to do so.
Wow.
So that's a lot of my work down on the island right now is education based. When with my clients, for the most part, it's really getting them to understand what business looks like from the standpoint of moving your product from a product that's solely Jamaican to a global product. So our music is able to be received all over the world. What you have a problem with is how do I recoup all my money? How do I make sure that I'm getting the streams, not just in the Caribbean, but the streams in the States, in Canada, in Europe? And some of our young talent on the island is doing a very good job of making their way across the world. They're doing a great job from that standpoint of sharing the music. And where I come in is I just make sure that the business is going the way the business should go. And the IP is protected the way the IP needs to be protected. Because at some point in time, your music career ends, you pass away, and that music still exists. And people are still paying into that music. So if you set it up properly, you'll be in a great situation for generations upon generations upon generations.
Oh, yes, that's just awesome. And I thank you both for wanting to go back and the passion. And Tamara, I think you mentioned you're a wife and a mother, an author. How do you wear so many hats? And how do you balance it all?
You know, first, I can't do it without the help of the Lord, right? And as I'm being a mother with four boys, it's
Wow.
four boys. They're a handful. They're very active, and a wife, full time, um, singer, songwriter, an author. A lot of people ask me how you do it, and there's never a clear answer to give them. But I know that I am a worshiper, and in my worship, every time I have my devotion, that's when the Lord speak to me with my songs. He will distract me in so many different ways, and it's good distraction. So I would say when I'm worshiping, he will utilize that moment to bring the best out of me. I like to make noise in my house. I'll be playing music from one end to the other. So I'm always my brain is just always on the go in a good way. So how I do it is the help of my kids. They find it interesting. They love to sing. I hear my youngest, he be singing, so it motivates me to continue to do it. They give me the time to do it. My husband, he gives me the time to do it. He know that it's a passion. I go to church. I love serving God. It's something within that keeps me going. You know, when you love something, it becomes a passion. So writing, I love to write. I'll be writing. I'll be texting. That's just who I am. I love these things. So it becomes a passion. So it never takes away from my children. It never takes away from my husband. It never takes away from whatever service I have to do. So, but with the help of the Lord, I can only do it. If I don't have him, I can't. So like I said, in my devotion, he will give me a word. He will give me lyrics. He will give me something to jump on board. Currently, I have a few assignments, and it is in the moment of his presence that he gives me these ideas.
Awesome, awesome. So we're almost out of time, so I'm gonna ask Gabriel and Akeem to just give a quick, motivation or inspiration to any young listeners that may be out there.
Before we wrap up, let me just run this for a second right here, okay?
Caribbean International Shipping Services, Atlanta's official and original shippers.
We're located in Stonecrest, Georgia. We are fully staffed. We offer services to the Caribbean, South and Central America.
We specialize in personal effects or commercial goods. Caribbean International Shipping Services, your full service shipping company serving Atlanta for over 20 years. We're open 12 months of the year.
We look forward to seeing you. Come by our office at 3048 Miller Road in Stonecrest, Georgia, or you can call us at 770-323-1111.
Caribbean International Shipping Services. Just pack it, we'll ship it.
Yes, there you go. There you go. You're in tune to Jamaican Explosion on a Saturday evening, approximately 5:52 up and down in the Atlanta, Metro Atlanta area, or wherever you're listening from. I hope you're just enjoying. If you're listening from Jamaica today, I want to say a very special shout out to Shaniqua. And Shaniqua, I know you're going through your thing right now, and my prayers are with you. We're gonna be just reaching out to you pretty soon, Shaniqua. All of us here that knows what your situation that you are going through. I don't know if you want to make it public or not, but we are praying for you, and we are praying that that situation will work itself out pretty soon. Okay, Shaniqua, sending out a shout out to our cousin, Mr. Perel. Okay, good to have you on Jamaican Explosion this evening. Okay, Nadine, go ahead and you could ask that closing question. Okay.
Gabriel, and then followed by Akeem. You want to just give an inspiration word to any young listeners that may be out there?
Definitely. So what I would say to anyone who is a young person, I would just say give it to God. So a lot of times, we're a very different time period. We are in the time period of COVID. We are in the time period of student loan debts not getting canceled when you think they're going to get canceled. There are so many different things that are going on in the world that we live in. And honestly, the best advice I would have for you when it comes to your purpose, when it comes to anything that's troubling you, just give it to God, because even the smallest things are things that he cares about and things that he's going to ease your pain on. So don't think anything is too small, or don't think anything is too big.
Okay, Akeem.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, as on top of prayer, just try, take your prayer and make them action. You know, and giving giving it, just give it all you got. Honestly, don't be afraid to fail. I've failed at more things than I've succeeded at.
Love that. Love that.
And one of my favorite quotes is like, you fail, you miss 99% of the shots you don't take, right? And that one is the one that you thought you were going to take. It's just in your head, right? So just put the action behind your plan, put the action behind what you're thinking about, and good things will come. You have to stay consistent. Consistency is key.
Okay, awesome. Do we have a quick time for Jabari and Tamara to jump in?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
You want? Oh, yes. I would say stay focused, focus. Because sometimes we start and we don't finish because we don't stay focused. I would encourage you to stay focused. Believe in you. Believe that you can do it. With God, all things are possible. Let your light shine. Let your light shine, and let it shine before man that they may see your good deeds. So whatever the Lord lay on your heart, do it unto God. Believe that you can. You can do it.
Okay, I think it's Jabari.
Yeah, I would. My advice is just see it through. Uh,
Mm,
like Akeem said, there are no shortcuts. If you want to achieve something, you have to go through the valleys, you have to climb the hill, you have to go through every little piece of difficulty so that you can enjoy it at the end. There just aren't any shortcuts. I have clients that are the richest of the rich and some clients who are the poorest of the poor. And what is consistent across them all is when they're waking up in the morning, they're putting on their pants the same way you and I are, but they're just going for it. So if you're spiritual, you wake up in the morning, say your prayer, but just be consistent, go after it, drive, and don't worry about what other people are throwing into your projects or your mindset. You have to just stay focused and understand that what is for you is for you.
Awesome. Priel, you want to pop something in real quick?
Honestly, Akeem and Jabari summed it up perfectly. I would say the same exact things. Just, put God first and put your prayers into action. Like Akeem said, like you can't just say, "Oh God, I want to do this, that," and then sit on your butt all day on the couch. Like you actually have to show up and put in the time, put in the effort, put in the work to achieve where you want to achieve what you want to achieve. And you have to envision yourself in that truth, in that moment, in that career, whatever it may be, and actually go work for it and achieve it. So yeah.
very good. Very good. And Nadine, I know some of these people a little bit better than you know them. So, and I'll tell you, they are hard workers. Jabari is a hard worker. Was always a hard worker, and he just took that mentality with him as he went into law. And he's helping out a lot of professionals that are out there in the sports and entertainment business as far as their copyrights and so forth like that. Perel's a hard worker. He's actually in school right now. You can't even get him to come to the telephone to answer a call every now and then. That boy is doing something at some time. And Perel, I love Perel because Perel's got one of the greatest voices that I've ever heard coming out of the United States. And but he comes and he dedicates that time to the next level, the next level. Of course, I named the group the next level singers and praise and worship, and he spends a lot of time developing those young talents in the church. So I say kudos to Perel. Of course, Tamara, with all that she has on her hands, she finds time to still write a book, and we'll have each and every one of these panelists back to do an in-depth into their in what they're bringing out individually. So I want to let them know that they'll be invited back. Okay, and of course you can comment on your daughter Gabrielle of Miss Nadine.
Oh, okay, sure. I look forward to where she goes with juvenile justice. Of course, me trying to steer her, I was like, that does not have any money, that aspect of law. But of course, as she said, it's her passion, it's what God has put in her heart. So as the parent, I have to step back, and I'm going to encourage other parents to step back so their kids can step forward.
Very good. Mr. Akeem, of course. Okay, the man of many projects. I'm looking forward to that program that you have going there, Mr. Akeem. I'm looking forward to see where you take that the Palm Youth Program,
Mhm.
as well as the Dad Brand LLC. I'm looking forward to further development in those programs. And as I said, we'll have each and every one of you all back at a different time to be with us here on Jamaican Explosion. Let the word go around. One of the reasons why we're bringing the youth on, because folks were trying to start to say that Jamaican Explosion was for old folks, you know? So
Yeah.
We
So
bring
it's
a
season.
variety. We bring a variety.
okay, yeah. So now they know that, Nadine, that we can actually, we have uh, living, well, striving young Jamaican American that are making a difference in the diaspora. And it was great to have you all on with us today. We have hit our 6 p.m. mark, and once again, thanks you all for taking your time out to come speak to some older heads right here. Okay,
Thank
and
you for having me.
And
Thank you
thanks
so
for
much.
being an inspiration to others.
Thank you for having me too as well.
okay, very good. And we're going to say until next week. This is Pastor Rob along with Nadine Dixon from Atlanta, and we are bringing to you the Jamaican Explosion every week. Go over to the YouTube channel and share. Uh, like, do whatever you need.
Subscribe.
Okay, go ahead.
Subscribe.
What was that, Nadine?
Subscribe.
Subscribe, and we can have all this beautiful talent and this beautiful gift and not just put it out there so other folks will be able to participate in this all this great information then and not be able to share it with others. So that's what we're here for at Jamaican Explosion, bringing to you the very best of Jamaica at home and abroad. And I must let you all know that coming up in another week or so, I'll have a new reporter from Jamaica, and his name is Ralston, and he's actually a writer in the magazines down there, and he'll be stopping by here with me on Jamaican Explosion to tell me exactly what's going on in Jamaica. So we'll have some direct feeds from Jamaica. How y'all feel about that?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
yeah, because we are Jamaica at home and abroad, so we just don't want to keep it limited to things that are going on in the states. We want to be able to bring to you information of what's actually going on down there in Jamaica. Maybe Jabbar will pay for a ticket so I could go down and get some fresh. It don't matter who anyone y'all want to send Pastor Rob down just for business purposes though.
So you
Yes.
can write it off.
Exactly.
And don't forget, his sidekick needs to go.
So okay, so it's been a pleasure to have you all with us today, and gonna sign off here in a second or so. So once again, uh, we want to say until next time, and until the very next time we have you all back, you're listening to or watching Jamaican Explosion with Pastor Rob on a Saturday evening. God bless
Walk
you.
good. Walk good.
As you say, Sister Nadine, you said what? What good?
Well, good.
What good? Okay, very good. All right, so there we have it, and we'll close out here. Until next week, everybody be good. Okay.
All right.